Good morning. It's Monday morning here in Tokyo, and it's Ty, the LinkedIn guy. Today, I am talking about imposter syndrome, or as I like to call it, small player syndrome. Now, kind of what is it? Well, for those that are maybe brand new in their business, obviously there's that fear that people are going to see you a certain way, and that way isn't really complimentary. Now, I just want to preface what I'm going to talk about with this. I don't believe in the idea of fake it till you make it. All right, that's not what I'm going to be talking about today. I believe if you have a true solution to a bleeding neck problem, or you have an opportunity that is transformational to a business, then great. I'm all for that. And if it's just a lack of your confidence of being able to present yourself to the market and what others think about you, then that's great. But if you're deliberately trying to go into the market, you don't know your stuff, hey Lionel, how mate? You don't know your stuff, and you want to kind of fool people. Well, just move along. Move along. So generally, I come across a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs that are really great practitioners. You know, they know their solution, they know their product or service, and you know, they get results, and the clients that they get, they help, and they transform their clients, which is great. And then what I hear from them is that on LinkedIn in particular, I do it whenever I'm around. I know I should have a better timing system, but I don't. What was I saying? Yeah, so what I see with these business owners and entrepreneurs is that they then are really fearful of putting themselves out there on LinkedIn, and they're worried that, well, you know, people are going to look at my competition, people are going to see them as better than me, you know, and there's all these excuses, and it cascades, and what happens is it stops people from actually taking any action. It stops people from presenting themselves on LinkedIn. Now, the best way to overcome, and I like to call it small player syndrome, is that, look at it like this. You've probably got yourself spread right across a number of social media platforms. And that's fine if you're actually great at producing content, you're up to date, you're totally organized, you're in there, your ideal client avatars are all over the place as well. They're in these different locations, great. What I find works best though, and one way to reduce this kind of imposter syndrome is pick one, maybe two channels to start with, and get yourself comfortable in that platform. Now, for those that are choosing LinkedIn as an option, there's some great news for you, because there's a few things that you can do to dramatically make yourself look better than your competition. And that's what a part of this small player syndrome and imposter syndrome is coming from, is that you feel the way that you are looking on LinkedIn, the way that you've structured yourself on LinkedIn, that you look amateurish, right? Well, to be frank, you've only got yourself to blame for that. You know, if you actually haven't thought about how to construct a profile. And when I talk about profiles as well on LinkedIn, if you're using it for lead generation, you really need to make a client-facing promotional page. You have to start to see LinkedIn not as this online resume. Because what's a resume used for, guys? It's used for getting a job. You're not trying to get a job. You're trying to get clients. So you should be structuring your profile in a way where we use those experience sections differently. We use them like pages on the website, right? And you look at websites, they have that service tab, and it shows, or the product tab, and it has a list, and then it opens up a page. That's what your LinkedIn really should be moving towards a page that those experience sections are more about the services or products that you provide, and what it does for them, and how, you know, it solves a problem, what other people are saying about it, they can expect when they use that product or service. Right? So this means that your profile completely changes. You've got to get rid of that idea of having an online resume, right? Because as soon as you break from that, then it just frees you up dramatically. Because, you know, when you give too much information, if you send someone to a website, right, you can't control where they're looking. They just go anywhere and look at anything. The same on LinkedIn. So when someone comes to your page on LinkedIn, if you have it laid in a way where you're directing people down a funnel, down information that is all about the stuff that you want to talk about, right? They've got no option but to look at those. And you can actually funnel someone down, and they're going to see, this is what he does. All right, these are the keys. Introducing in the first experience section, these are the key services and products he has. And then he's expanding them, or she's expanding them, experience 2, 3, 4. And there's a call to action there. Maybe you have 1 experience or 2 experience sections that are case studies, right? It's about developing that profile. Just get rid of resume. Just think, I'm bringing my website into LinkedIn. LinkedIn is hosting me there. So that's one of the first things. And the great thing is that just because maybe you're on a platform and your competition or an influencer that you're going up against is huge on that platform, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be huge on all other platforms. And there's some great examples of this, and I'm going to show you right now. Because if you were competing against some of these guys in Facebook or Instagram, you would have a very, very hard time. However, if you bring it on LinkedIn, there's there can be a whole new audience that have never heard of these people before, because some of these, your audience are just really followers of LinkedIn, and they go in there and they're not big fans. They don't do business on Facebook, or they just don't interact. So you've got to understand that in some of these cases, your influencer or your competition, they're really crappy on LinkedIn. They're really crappy. I mean, and just to give you a classic example, and look at Russell Brunson. Now, for those that are in the ClickFunnels community and all that kind of stuff, look at his page on LinkedIn. That's it. He's got, this guy's got a couple 100,000 people in his Facebook group. He's got 50,000 users of his software. And on LinkedIn, you can outrank Russell Brunson if you were ClickFunnels, or you were providing some kind of technology or software that is leading people through a funnel-based system like ClickFunnels. There's a number of new softwares out there. You actually could. Sometimes got to get used to this software. You actually could outrank someone like Russell Brunson, because again, not everyone's going to know who this guy is. And if they're doing searching, or they're up, going around the platform, and they see your kind of software, they could be like, wow, this is so much different. And when you compare it to someone like Russell Brunson, you can actually outshine on LinkedIn. And another classic example, Tai Lopez. Let me get back to my camera. So Tai Lopez as well. He's all over Facebook and stuff. He was going after B2B clients and enterprise type clients, for keynote speaking or mentorship. Man, you can outrank, outpace, get more attention than these guys. It's this reality. I didn't even know he worked at GE Capital. I guess he did, a couple of years. But that's the thing. You've got to pick your platform. You've got to understand that not every platform you have to be this minnow, right? And you have to be someone that actually can't compete. You can compete on certain platforms. It really is dependent on what your competition is doing on the platform. And if these guys are like that, it's great. It's great for you, because it means that you can outrank, outposition, outbrand them on LinkedIn. Yeah, and it really does come down to how you're positioning yourself and how you choose to participate in the platform. Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to come on quickly and talk about that, because when you position yourself on the platform, when you take a different stance, when you look at your competitors and realize, hey, they're not doing that, they're doing a crappy job here, then man, that imposter syndrome, that can melt away, right? And especially, as I said, if you have truly a bleeding neck, or a solution to a bleeding neck problem, or you have a transformational opportunity for your clients, get in there and position yourself, start to act differently, and just think, these guys have exactly the same media space as you. This is the beauty of it, guys, on LinkedIn in particular, is that when you reframe and reposition yourself, And when you compare yourself to people like Tai Lopez and Russell Brunson, or even other stuff like Jocko Willink, the Extreme Leadership, his profile sucks. If you're in leadership training, you could out-position yourself of someone like Jocko Willink. I mean, that is really possible to do. So that's the beauty. You've got to realize that everyone has the same amount of media space on LinkedIn. Now, what some of these people aren't doing is they're not using it and not building it. You can actually massively build out a profile when you come from an approach of layering a landing page on top of the platform, because you know what your competition are doing. They're doing what Tai Lopez has done. They're doing what Russell Brunson has done. They're just using it like an online resume, right? So you can break free from that. You can reposition yourself. You can use it in a way that showcases your work, your experiences, how this is going to impact them when they use you. Dramatically changes the game. So time to get rid of that online resume and get rid of this imposter syndrome. And you have a choice of how you want to position yourself. And people, when they land on your profile and they see it, they're going to believe it. Right? That's the key as well, because you're going to look different to everyone else. It's going to talk to them directly about what you do and how you do it and why is it great for them and what they can expect, and that what their problems are. It's a completely transformational way of looking at LinkedIn compared to this online resume where you think your credentials are enough to get someone to take action when they just aren't. A couple of questions. How's the weather, Angela? Crappy, hot and wet and muggy. What are the best platforms? What platforms are really worth it? Well, really depend on where your ideal client avatar is really hanging out. So like anything, Angela, it's a matter of who your ideal client avatars are. Where are they hanging out? Are they in abundance? Are they the type of people that engage on that platform? And are they accessible? And can you get a message to them, right? And so it's really, the right message at the right time to the right person. If that's LinkedIn, awesome. If it's not, I wouldn't be like, if I was, servicing local like hair salons, or if I was doing Facebook advertising for hair salons, I wouldn't be going on LinkedIn and trying to chase up hair salon people. They're not there. They're not using it. In their idle time, I can't imagine a hair salon owner kind of going through LinkedIn on their mobile phone. They're checking out Instagram, they're checking out Facebook, right? However, if someone is maybe a legal practitioner, they're sitting at a desk, and in their downtime, they might actually open up LinkedIn. So it really depends on who your avatar are and how. In particular, a lot of accessing of LinkedIn and Facebook, it's during people's idle time, right? And sometimes I remember I watched a study where it looked at the people using internet was kind of like, back in the early 90s and 80s, and we watched TV, especially, during weekdays. The same kind of usage hours kind of matched up. People in their idle time were turning on TV. Now they turn to online instead. So particularly during the day now, the beauty of that is if someone's sitting at a desk and someone has access to the computer, they're the kind of people that are in business, probably going to also go onto LinkedIn, right? People like plumbers, HVAC guys, they're not, in their idle time, they're not pulling out LinkedIn and having a look, right? So really, you got to know your audience. Are your audience there? Are they in abundance? And even like, I kind of mentioned, blue collar workers there, but stuff like dentists, for example, there's 84,000 dentists on LinkedIn in the USA, but only about 670 to 700 actually come in and post anything every month. So it's on a huge amount of actually participating. Same thing with physicians. Yeah, there's 500 odd thousand in the US, about 4,500, 5,000 of them. Still a great size, a big enough market actually to do good B2B business with, are coming in and posting everything. So you've got to look at your industry, and probably the most and it's kind of obvious, right? The industries where there's a heavy adoption and heavy usage tends to be the technology space, IT, software space, information technology related companies, service providers, and then it goes to like staffing and recruiting, of course, human resource, and marketing and advertising is a big one as well. I mean, those six make up probably about 25-30% of the usage of LinkedIn. So whatever platform is worth it, well, it's the one where your people are. Yeah. one-stop shops and like clothing and apparel. No. Those kind of stuff just doesn't work well. Yeah. If it's a B2C, generally on LinkedIn, it's not going to work well. Yeah. Most of the B2B stuff that I see where it works is your organic outreach combined with inbound strategies. So I see a lot of people now, some coaches say, oh, forget about the messaging. That's so, last year. No, to say forget about that is crazy. It's like me saying, oh, forget about trying to run inbound strategies. You've got to have a combination of both that are running. But stuff for clothing and apparel brands, no. You need volume. You need eyeballs on product. So anyway, that's it for me. I've got stuff to do. I hope that was insightful anyway, or at least gave you one idea or two. I'm out of here. See you guys.